The Legend of Valadore, Peacefield. Written by Hudson Lausche. Narrated by Gabe. Chapter 1. George had woken up in his own bed. He didn't know what had just happened, but he thought it was a dream. It was the same exact environment that his room had. Slightly blue walls, posters of famous quotes. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Michael Jordan. I'm a greater believer in luck, and I find harder work the more I have of it. Thomas Jefferson. Everything was the same. When he walked out of his room, it was just like home. Mom was making pancakes, Dad sitting at the table reading the newspaper. Mom then asked George, "Don't you read the next chapter of your physics book tomorrow?" George replied, "No, that was yesterday." She didn't say another word. George said, "Mom?" In response, "Mom? Mom? Mom?" He was very confused. "Why won't you respond?" A strange voice then said, "Because you don't remember." "What? I don't remember?" "Who are you?" George asked. A strange voice replied, "The question is, who are you?" George looked around the room. His parents froze in place. A strange figure appeared on the couch behind him. George jumped at the sight. "Yeah, who the heck are you and what are you doing on my couch?" The stranger snapped his fingers and the room shifted. "Actually, you're on my couch," said the stranger. George was very confused. What had just happened? Can I go back to my couch? The strange man observed him for a moment. "You're in a state where you can bend reality and only experience things you can remember in your own mind. It's called the retro state, and only the powerful of minds can use it," George said. "Then why were you in it with me for a moment?" He then replied. "Because you can remember me. You saw me when you were in front of the great monument." George was in disbelief. "Then how could I hear you?" "Because you are not fully isolated from the world." "What? What is going on? First I have a bad dream, then I'm in the retro state, and now I'm in some random person's living room?" The man interjected, "I'm not random. You remember me." "Well, why am I here exactly?" The man was shocked that he didn't even know when he was here, but he knew he couldn't make it easy for him. "You're the one who's supposed to find out. I can help you, but I cannot tell you." The room paused for a minute. "Do you know the Valadore prophecy?" George replied, "I think so. Is it the thing I saw in front of the tower before all the chaos?" The man nodded. George asked the man, "What's your name?" He paused and responded with, "Just call me Captain." "Yeah, that explains it." He was wearing a black and gold captain's coat, a captain's hat, and had a gold pocket watch in his front pocket in his coat. Captain stared at George for a moment. He then asked for George's. Then he frowned. Captain got up and said, "Follow me." "Where?" George asked. He said, "You'll see." Chapter 2. Captain and George, after fixing things out, walked out of the captain's house. Once they were on their way, they started to talk about their lives. "So," said George, "what are you the captain of?" The captain responded, "I'm the captain of a trade ship. I bring resources from settlements to the capital to be further distributed, or the other way around." He pulled out his gold pocket watch. "This used to be my dad's. Before he passed, he gave me his watch and his boat with his crew." George was amazed. "What about you?" said the captain. "Not much. I'm just a random kid from school that just got pulled into another world. I wish I had a relationship with my dad." Captain asked a question for George. "Well, is he still alive?" "Yeah, but he's always at work, and when he's home, he's just reading the newspaper." Captain asked, "What's a newspaper?" "It's a thing where you get one every morning and it has something new, and it can tell you what has happened around you, like an informative book that you get every day." The captain realized, "Oh, we have something like that." George still didn't have a clue where they were going. He approached a gate with a big fence around it. The area. "Locked," said the captain. We got to find a way around. Maybe not. George looked around and saw a long board. Give me a hand? Captain noticed what he was thinking. With a loud grunt, they both carried it over to the gate. Now set up to the wall, said George. They sat down with a loud clang. It was on the fence. Both soon crossed over the fence and were on a long path. So, where are we going? George had asked. The captain, soon getting annoyed, said, I said you'll see. 3 miles of walking until they take a break. It's a nice little break spot, said Captain. George panting, said, yeah. This is a good spot. There's an apple tree, and a lone tree in the desert. Everything other than the tree was dead. No life but a single lone apple tree, like a blank canvas with nothing but the first drop of paint. The tree had its fruit fresh and clean. Captain grabbed an apple and said, when you're in an environment where everything is the same, nothing but sand, dirt, and rocks, same size, same shape, same color, and everyone wants you to act the same, think the same, and be the same, but you can choose what you want to be, either the sand or the apple in the desert. You may not be seen a lot, you might not be appreciated, but if you choose to throw yourself out there, and you were made to be different, people will find you and appreciate the fruitage of your labor. He then took a bite out of the apple. George was speechless. He had never heard of anything more inspirational than that. He complimented the captain on it. Wow, where did you hear about that? Captain Hesitant said, it's a secret. George was confident that he would have cracked the egg on the secret. Are you sure? It's not like anybody else is listening. Captain looked on her eyes and up the sunset. The wind can carry stories for centuries to come and come again. George thought about that sentence for a moment. So, let's make a good story then? Captain got up and said, get some rest. We set out at dawn. George then found a spot near the tree and went to sleep. The Legend of Valadore, Peacefield. Written by Hudson Lausche. Narrated by Gabe.